What's up, everybody? I'm Drew. This is 49ers Sports Talk. Today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit in depth about the Brandon Aiyuk situation that is still ongoing. Also wanted to kind of touch quickly on the Trent Williams situation and a few more things. So let's jump into it. All right, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about that not many people are addressing or talking about is Brandon Aiyuk's agent, Ryan Williams. I feel like he's done an extremely poor job at negotiating. I don't blame Brandon Aiyuk, and I don't blame the 49ers, to be quite frank with you. I think that Ryan Williams' job for his agent, or for his client, is to get the most money. I get that part of it, but it's also to come to terms with a deal. And this guy fumbled it from the day after the Super Bowl. The Niners did have an offer on the table, and he should have had his client sign that, because at that point in time, it was a good deal. It was a great deal. It would have been at the top of the market. He would have had his guaranteed money. He would have been in camp, all the things that he pretty much wants, and he wouldn't have known any better. Yeah, the market reset itself, and he might have been kind of mad at his agent a little bit that he didn't get more money, but really we're talking about $4 million more a year. He can make that up in endorsements. So, and if his agent is any good, he's getting those endorsements. In fact, Brandon Aiyuk just got endorsed by Sony. So, these are factors that he can make up the difference to just get Brandon in the door. Granted, like the second year contract or the second contract in a player's career is usually the biggest one, but who's to say that he won't get another good deal? I don't think that Ryan Williams is the guy that he should take to the table if he does get the second deal done into his third deal, because I don't think he's going to represent him very well. I just wanted to make note of this. Here's a list of players' agents that have gotten deals done. William Morris Endeavor for Justin Jefferson did a phenomenal job. Obviously, the Niners don't want to pay Brandon Aiyuk that kind of money, but he got the deal done. He got his guy into camp. A.J. Brown's agents, Torrey Dandy and Jimmy Sexton, both got a deal done. DJ Moore was the last receiver, the last domino to fall. Drew and Jason Rosenhaus both got those deals done. Joby Branyan and Aaron Henderson, got Amon-Ra St. Brown's deal done. Joel Siegel, another top agent like the Rosenhauses, got Jalen Waddle's deal done, and Devontae Smith's agent, Kelton Crenshaw, have all gotten deals done and got their clients into camp before training camp. Now, a lot of people, a lot of content creators especially, will blame the 49ers and their hard-nosed negotiating tactics, but you have to understand that this isn't a one-year deal. Like, the salary cap isn't just this year. And yes, the Niners are kind of in a win now mode, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. But it's not, you can't just look at 1 year. You have to look at the whole thing. And we all know that Brock Purdy, if he has another year even close to what he had last year, MVP finalist, he's going to command quite a big contract. So you have to factor these things in. And the Niners might, at this point, to be honest, be of the notion that they're not going to get what they want from the Steelers. They obviously, the Patriots, and I'll talk to that in a second. The Patriots declined any offer, and the Browns is still open, but we don't know how far apart they are with that. Player for player trades are not very common. Amari Cooper has been a little bit not happy in Cleveland. We don't know if Brandon Aiyuk even wants to go to Cleveland, but there's a lot of options still left on the table. But the fact that all of these agents were able to get their client in the door, signed with a negotiation that both parties were happy about, and that Ryan Williams has not, speaks very loudly. And if I was Brandon Aiyuk, I would start considering other options to represent me. All right, and so these next factors, guys, are just as important as having a bad agent. They're all contributing things. And so, a lot of us have wondered, is the Niners asking price too high for a trade? I think it kind of is. I bet it is, because I don't think they want to settle for anything less than a first rounder at this point. And who wants to give up a first rounder plus have to pay Brandon Aiyuk, who's had like one and a half good years as a pro in the NFL, $30 million or whatever he wants, above that, maybe slightly below that. But that's a lot of money to give to somebody who's only had one good year of elite production. And so, if the Niners are asking a first and Brandon also has to agree to that deal, that's not very appealing to a lot of teams. So our team's still maybe mildly interested. I don't think there's a whole lot of interest, because I think the word around the league is that the Niners just want too much, and they can ask for that because they know at the end of the day, Brandon Aiyuk's under contract. And so the Niners have called his bluff, essentially. Like the thing with the Patriots didn't work out. So they hold all the cards. They're obviously prepared to play with or without Brandon Aiyuk. So there was also conflicting deals with conflicting information with the Patriots deal. So we really don't know if Brandon Aiyuk, in his pseudo leverage or whatever, if he actually said no to the deal or the Patriots are the ones who refused the deal. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Patriots. Matt Maiocco did say that they had a deal in place with the Patriots, but then Adam Schefter contradicted that by saying New England pulled out of the deal. They were the teams that pulled out of the deal. So that's very conflicting information. I don't know if Maiocco is like a mole working for the Niners or something like that, a little bit of espionage going on or something like that, but it kind of seems like that he's trying to help the Niners get this deal done. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just speculation. It's wild conspiracy theory, but it does seem odd that he's like, making these claims, and then the other NFL insiders are kind of contradicting that. There was Ari Merov, or however you say his last name. He did report sort of an arbitrary number. He reported $30 million a year is what the asking price was, or what the deal was. So I don't know if Maiocco, or it's very convoluted. And to me, like, muddy info is no info at all. So I don't know who to believe. It's just like watching the local mainstream media, the news, things like that. They kind of, everything gets convoluted because too much information is no information at all, and everybody's reporting different things. So there's really not a solid answer there, other than nothing happened. So that's the bottom line. Now the Niners, like I said, they have called his bluff. So if Brandon Aiyuk does come in, or if he continues to hold in, and then the season hits and he decides to start holding out for weeks, he can hold out up to week 10 or 11, something like that. But if he holds out after that, then the contract resets to 2025, and then he's gotten literally nowhere. So that doesn't really benefit him, especially if the Niners force him to play on the 5th-year option, because he's only due $14.1 million over the entire season. If he holds out 10 weeks at $750,000 a pop, that's most of his contract. Like, he's only going to make like $4 or $5 million this year. So does he really want to do that? Does his family really want him to do that? Probably not. So the Niners kind of hold the keys to everything that will or will not happen. And right now, honestly, if I'm John Lynch, I'm like walking up to Brandon Aiyuk, I'm staring him straight in the face, and I'm saying, we're not trading you. You can stop asking. We're going to let this play out on the 5th-year option. We'll probably franchise tag you next year to try to hammer out a deal or trade you. So that's what's going to happen. And Brandon Aiyuk would have no recourse outside of just holding out. And if the Niners are already prepared to play without him, which it sounds like they are, if they're like, go out and shop yourself, they're already preparing to like play without him. So Brandon Aiyuk has really just dug himself into a corner. There's not a whole lot of leverage here. I really can't see the Niners taking anything less than a first rounder for Brandon Aiyuk. This should have happened, yes, before the draft. Common sense would have told you that, but nobody was really offering a first during the draft either. They actually did kind of let him, shop around during the draft, and nobody wanted him. So it's kind of like he's stuck with us, and that might not be the worst thing. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about that. I just think it's very weird that we're getting conflicting information by reputable sources. We're getting, people like Adam Schefter saying what he said, and then Matt Maiocco, who's obviously one of the top beat writers for the 49ers, saying something else, and it's kind of just a clashing of, information. And so we really don't know if Brandon had any kind of leverage in that. We don't know if the 49ers were asking too much and the Patriots cooled off on it, or if Brandon just flat out said, no, I don't want to go play in cold weather. So a lot of factors there at play. They might also, one other thing is if they can convince Brandon to play on the 5th-year option and put a lot of good tape out there, they could just let him go in free agency next year, and that would help his case. And so maybe they'll pitch it to him that way. But we will see. The Brandon drama continues, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon, I don't think. And we're going to see this kind of leak into training camp, and there's other things at play here too. And so I just really quickly also wanted to touch on the Trent Williams thing. Obviously, he's not signed yet. I'm not sure what the holdup is here. CMC asked for more money. He kind of went back to the table. with the Niners and pounded the table for some more guaranteed cash because the guaranteed money ran out on his contract. So Trent Williams saw that it worked, and he kind of is emulating that. He's parroting that. He knows that his time in the NFL is probably running short. He's on the back nine, as we all know. He's still playing at a very high level, almost an elite level, you could say. So I think that, it was a couple weeks afterwards that CMC had asked, and we're at about that point in time right now with Trent Williams. He's getting close to that same time frame as they did with CMC, but I definitely know that they're missing Trent Williams at camp. There's been a lot of pressures on Purdy and things like that, causing him to not have his comfort on his blind side. So they definitely need to get that done. I do think that is the number one priority. The BA stuff, there's time. It shouldn't have been time because Ryan Williams should have had this done the week after the Super Bowl. He could have, when the Niners were offering the reported $26 million a year, that deal could have happened if Ryan Williams was advising his client that he's probably not going to get more than that. And as evidence of that statement, he's not getting more than that, at least in 2024. Maybe if he puts up some good numbers this year and then he's a free agent, he might get that on the open market, but just because there could be a little bit of a bidding war. But it's kind of looking like he's probably not going to get that. I'm not going to say definitely not get that, but it's looking more and more every day like an extension is not going to happen this season. A lot of the trade partners are starting to kind of fade off into the background like the Homer Simpson meme. So I don't think that deal with Brandon Aiyuk is going to get done this season. I think that, Guy Haberman predicted this weeks and weeks and weeks ago, that he was going to wind up playing on the fifth-year option. It kind of looks like that's what's happening. It looks like the Niners are at a stalemate with Brandon Aiyuk and also at a stalemate with any kind of trade partners because they know what they want to get from Brandon Aiyuk. They're not going to accept anything. They could accept a second, but I would be totally shocked if they did. But anyway, Trent Williams, number one priority, get him in the door. You got to do it, Niners. And so there's my thoughts on that. And I would follow up with one final thought. I don't believe that a lot of people, this has kind of been thrown out by the mainstream media, sports media. It's been thrown out by a lot of Niners content creators. Not everybody. I think there's some smart people out there that realize, this is kind of being painted as the last dance season. But, with the way that this front office builds rosters, I'm not sure that that's so true. You could have Brock Purdy for the next 15 to 16 years. Conceivably, you could have your franchise quarterback in the next decade and a half. Brady played well into his 40s. I'm not sure if Purdy could do that, but if he were to do that, that's another 15 years from now that 15 to 20 years from now that Brock Purdy could be the 49ers quarterback. So if you have an elite quarterback and he continues to get better and better, he continues to understand the game better, he's got the elite processor. We've heard guys like Steve Young say that. So as long as this team can keep putting pieces around him and continuing to draft, the Fred Warners, the George Kittles, and then bring in veterans like Juice and Trent Williams and CMC. If they continue to kind of build the team in this mold, the Niners are going to be contenders for a very long time. They're going to keep punching their ticket to the dance. It's not like it's a wrap after 2024. I don't believe that one bit. You shouldn't believe that one bit either. The way that they build through the draft and put together free agents that fit, not just going out and getting big name guys. They're actually getting guys that fit the system, that fit what Kyle and John Lynch want to do. And as long as those guys stay in lockstep, as long as Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are here, the 49ers are going to continue to win. So don't let the Grant Cohns of the world and all his little minions tell you Kyle Shanahan's the problem. He can't win the big one. He hasn't won the big one yet. Doesn't mean he's not going to. And he is not the problem. He's far from the problem. He's probably the second best coach, maybe even 1A, 1B to Andy Reid, because they should have won that Super Bowl last year. Like Mandy said, they did win that Super Bowl last year. I'm just going to go with that. The Niners won the Super Bowl last year. Screw the Chiefs. And anyway, we'll address all that kind of stuff as the season goes along. The Niners play the Chiefs and everything like that. Hopefully they get some revenge, and we'll see what happens. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Please go ahead and drop a comment with your own thoughts on the Brandon Aiyuk situation or the Trent Williams situation. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button on the way out, and we will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself, guys. We'll see you next time.